Welcome back to Revit Basics. So this one is rendering. Okay, so first off, I advise using camera views the most. They make your model appear a lot better. So if you go to View, to this little house where it says 3D View, click the drop down and you can select Camera. Then we can, let's go from this side. Okay, I want to place the camera and then click again where I want it to look. So I want to look that way. There we go. Here's my view. If you want to check it out, yeah, you can then change the detail level, make it realistic. I can turn on shadows. Give it a second. There we go. Okay, now this crop boundary, I would advise not pulling it too far. It does tend to distort your image quite quickly. Okay, and I would like to focus on what I have here. So make that like that. Actually, there we go. That looks very nice. Okay. Now if we go back to View, if you click on the kettle, that'll open up your rendering interface. Now we can pick the quality we would like to render. So I'm going to do a draft quality, so it goes a lot quicker, just to show you what it looks like. And my scene currently is exterior, sun only. And then I can pick the style for the background, so it's few clouds. We can make it cloudy, and we can hit render. And then you're going to stare at my face for a little bit as we watch this render. Okay, so it's going to load and then it's going to start rendering, and because it's a draft it should go very quick. There we go. Bang, there we go. There's my render. Yes, it does look very grainy currently. It is also because it is a draft render and it is quite cloudy in my scene. So you can now do one of two things with this render you've just made. Okay, you can export it and then you can save it somewhere. Okay, or you can say save to project. I like this option better. Okay, so you say save to project. Now we can call it building 3D render and say OK. Now under your project browser you will find that there is a new option available. Yeah, it says renderings. I've already made one before, and if you double click on that it'll now open up that view. Okay, and it is a image. Okay, so if you were to add it onto a plan, I can now grab my render, pull it onto plan. Yes, it is currently very tiny, so if you double click on the view you can actually enlarge the size of it. So I'm going to pull it to about that size and double click outside and then pull my little annotation, my view label into place, and I just want to pull this line a little bit further. There we go. Now my render is on plan. Okay. Interior renders work very much the same. Just change the scale. There we go. I'm going to do one of my kitchen. So yeah, under View, 3D, I've placed another camera and I want to look from that corner this way. There we go. Now, if your camera height is too high or too low, you can always change the height of your camera. Yeah, at eye elevation. Okay, change that to 1.8 or whatever. You'll see it'll move it up or down. Now let me show you what I meant by distorting your view. Okay, so if you pull this out, okay, it distorts everything because we are in a perspective view. Okay, so if you want to get in as much as possible, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but it does distort your view horribly the further you go. Okay, Now take note, this is a square, semi-square room. It has pulled it into this long mess. Okay, so I would refrain from pulling it too far. Okay, so let us pull it a little bit, just so we have a little bit more in our view. I think that is pushing it a little bit. There we go. That looks about fine. Now we can do the same, just so we can check what it would look like, and turn on our fine detail, our shadows, and a realistic view. Okay, this is what it would look like. Alright, we have a good idea. We have some sun coming in from over here. We have some very low lights. You can always now change the height of your lights and stuff like that. So I'm just going to change the height, mounting height, make it 100. So apply. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay, now back to the kettle, and this scene is interior, and it is sun and artificial because we do have lighting fixtures. I'm going to, you can always come down and adjust the exposure as well, your highlights, your shadows, your saturation and whatnot. Okay, I'm going to render, and now we can stare at each other again whilst we wait. There we go. So yes, once again, it is very pixelated, it is very rough. Obviously this is a draft render, so if you go up all the way to best, it'll take a lot longer to render, but it will display a lot better. Okay, and also you can then also select your lights. Let's just close that rendering view. Okay, select the light, and you go edit type, scroll all the way down. Yeah, you can play around with your light settings, and you can up the brightness and color and whatnot. Okay, so go and play around with these settings and see how it would change your render. Okay, you can also try your rendering settings and try your scene and try artificial only interior and see what that looks like. That could look different. It could even look better in some cases. Okay, let's actually see what that looks like. See what these lights are actually doing. Okay, so it looks like not much. So we can definitely up that quite a bit. Okay, but that's rendering.